What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I want to talk about black politics and how we are about to go down in history once again. My African descendant people, my black people, we're going down in history once again. And why are we going down in history? Because this day and age, it's unprecedented that any person of true power and wealth gets held accountable. It's unheard of. The only time a person of extreme power and wealth usually gets in trouble is when they are fighting against other extremely wealthy people of power, you know, and usually they trying to take each other out. Now, what I'm talking about is Donald Trump. For his entire life, Donald Trump has been the definition of privilege. Spoon-fed, rich baron of other rich white people, right? Keep in mind, he didn't earn anything on his own. Trump in real life has always and forever will be a failure and a black eye on his own family, right? This is documented, right? But nonetheless, he still was a part of the haves, right? But because he's so stupid and doesn't know how to play the game, he's being forced to be held accountable. And I don't know if it's lost on any of you guys, and I think it is lost on a lot of people, because the great majority of Americans have a very narrow view on how politics works. They're very narrow-minded on the mechanisms of a democracy, of politics, how it's played, what are parties, sub-parties. They don't know. They're really casual political fans who only engage when something is highlighted on one of the propaganda networks that is owned by the donors of these politicians, right? Where they tell you what to be mad at, what to be offended about, what to concentrate on, and what's important, and then you in turn get upset, and then you go off and then you campaign like the pawn, like the good pawn that they know you are, and you will fight unbeknownst to you against your own best interest on behalf of major corporations who have only their interests at hand. But right now, if you look at politics in America, right now, black people, all right, continue to grab the keys of this country, right? Black people continue to grab the keys of this country. Now, before I get started on this, I want you to understand that in the real world, there's no such thing as a uncorrupt government. There's never been a such thing as an uncorrupt government. There's never been a such thing as a perfect uncorrupt politician. In the history of human beings organizing, there's never been a country that has made it to superstar, the superpower status, that was not a tyrant to another country. There's never been an empire, a kingdom, a caliphate that was not a tyrant or state sponsor of terrorism to other countries, ethnic groups, or whatever. There's never been. So to be naive and think that, you know, there's just something inherently extra corrupt about our politicians that is something we need to fix, to be honest, it'll never be fixed, because human beings are corrupt by nature. We are greedy. We want what we want. We seek out power, validation, and all these things, right? So when you live in the real world, understand that politics is politics, no matter where politics is. Politics is war and it's nasty, and there's no morals in that, right? So if you look at politics, if you look at where our black politicians are, most of our black politicians that make effective change are on the Democrat or independent side, right? The majority of our ability to access the keys to America are on the Democratic side. These are just objective truths. This is not me picking one or the other. We do have some on the Republican side, but because of the nature of the Republican Party, which is the party of the white Christian racists, they're trying to hold on to white nationalism and stuff like that. You can be on the Republican side, but you have to stay in your place. You have to stay under the table, and the only scraps you get is what master give you. But on the Democratic side, since the Democrats are they're a party of greenism, moneyism, corporatism, they'll allow you to participate as a black person, Spanish person, whatever, because as long as they're still making money, they don't care what kind of social justice moves you're trying to make, right? So all of our political power, all the people that mean to do good for our community on our Democratic side. And there's a lot of women who've been allowed to participate in this war. And you see, war is usually fought by men. But when it comes to politics, that is an arena that women can fight equally in, because it doesn't require them to pick up a shield and a sword and physically fight anybody. They can use their excellent black intellect, their African intellect, right? They can use that to fight the powers that be. And a lot of African women, like they have always in history, literally famous for doing, right, is when the black man is down, the black woman always stands up. That's what makes the black woman so amazing, right? Now, right now in history, there are black men and black women in states being run by black men and black women who are holding a white male multimillionaire former president accountable for his misdeeds. Like, that's actually happening. He's in court. We're talking about New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, the hubs of black excellence, where all the black excellent people are, right? We're talking about the judiciary, where black people have been fighting like hell to get representation in the judiciary, right? Like, to get representation so that we can wield our version of justice in this country that promises to have that Lady Justice is blind, right? So we have black females and black men holding Donald Trump accountable, and they're not afraid of what the overall structure is going to do to them. And now in the age of information, everybody can see it, so they can't really do anything to them. Because had we not had the internet or social media, none of these black DAs, none of these black lawyers, none of these black judges will ever have the ability to hold this white man accountable. But it's a new day. And so right now, multiples of black people, black men and black women, are doing their job on the judicial side, right, holding this white man accountable for the things that he himself has done, right? He'll get his fair day in church, in court, but he's being held accountable because the black people who's holding him accountable, they don't have any sense of loyalty to him. They're not a part of his clan. They're not a part of his group of people. They don't follow that code that they follow by letting their white male do anything they want with impunity. They don't follow that. They follow a different code. And I know a lot of black people who are political casuals. The first thing they do when they see a black politician is you call them a coon. You immediately, because they're a part of the process, because they're trying to make their way through the system at which we need to change, you guys call them a coon automatically, and you write off everything that they're trying to do. Matter of fact, you don't even listen to the things that they propose. You don't listen to their legislation. You don't follow them all. You just put them in the coon category because you figure they're working for the system that works against us, not knowing that some of these politicians are working to change the system, and the only way to change the system is to get in the system. Right? But a lot of people who are unknowledgeable, they don't appreciate that, right? They don't appreciate our politicians that's putting themselves on the line to go out here and try to make change in a system that doesn't want to change, to deal with people that don't want to be dealt with. Like, a lot of you same people who put all black politicians in the coon category are the same ones that put Obama in that started to hate on Obama like it was trendy when he left, because you thought that black president was going to do something for you special, right? Forgetting that there's two other branches of the government. And they made it very clear that they was not gonna let this black man do anything for his people. They were loud about it. They actually said it out their mouth, but a lot of you black people, you forgot that. Y'all forgot when Obama was against the LGBTQ until he got pressured into being for it. Because another thing you learn in politics is that just because you're the president, that means you running everything. Because there are other entities bigger than you that got money that will hinder you or slow you down from any of your legislative goals, simply because of who you are. Y'all forgot that Obama had enemies. Everybody was his enemy that wasn't him. Democrat and Republican. You forgot that. You forgot all these rich white men that made it their business to block everything Obama did. And besides that, he was a great president. He just didn't do something specifically for your black ass because you was looking for a handout, and when you didn't get there, you cried like a baby, and all of a sudden F Obama because you thought it was cool to say it. And Donald Trump is just a white hate reaction off of Obama, and a lot of you same ones that just decided to all of a sudden hate Obama, which you voted for, right? But you pretend like you didn't. Now you jumping on the Trump chain where Trump don't give a shit about you or the white person next to you. Right? It just shows how narrow-minded a lot of us are politically. Narrow-minded. You only see the part of the picture that the news organization that you watch shows you, right? But there's a bigger picture that you don't see. But you think that everything in that narrow view of yours is the total world and is a total story. But I like to look at the big picture. And the big picture is black people. It took an era to which black people can work their way up into different parts of the government, the judicial and the legislative branch, in order to create the environment to hold this rich white man accountable for the things that he did. And in 100 years, when this whole era is talked about, when they talk about Donald Trump being the worst president in the history of America post-slavery, because any president that has slaves is worse than Donald Trump. That's just a given. All of them, every single one of them is worse than Donald Trump. But post-slavery, Donald Trump will be the worst president in the history of America, and they will be studying him. There will be movies made about this situation, and all the heroes right now that got to fight, that's fought to make this, to hold this guy, and all the people around him that's already went to jail. Keep in mind, how many people went to jail for working for Donald Trump? A lot. This is going to be Nixon is probably like, nobody's even going to think about Nixon no more. Watergate is nothing now. Trump has totally taken over. Whatever Watergate was, don't mean shit. It's secondary to this shit right here. And just know, when Donald Trump finally gets, when his chickens finally come all the way home to roost, financially, politically, everything, it would have been because of black people who grabbed the keys and put it in ignition and turned it and got this train moving. All right. Anyway, that's all I got to say. This Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach them. I'm out.